Hey, welcome to another live. Now, last week I said I was going to be a bit more open and a bit more truthful about some of the reasons that I do what I do when I work health coaching and work with entrepreneurs, busy professionals all over the world to really level up their health. And let me start from the beginning. It's always the best place to start, right? When I was really young, maybe 5, 6 years old, my parents actually split up. Seems like a regular occurrence, unfortunately, nowadays that divorces happen. Now, I'm 35 years old. This was 30 odd years ago. And what happened is my dad moved away. He looked to provide for his family. So I was there with my sister, my mom in our house. My dad moved out, he moved away, and he was still looking to provide for his kids. It was me, my sister, and a half brother and sister as well. And in doing this, he started working in sales, in caravan park sales, in holiday parks or vacation parks. I want to say trailer parks for you in the US, but RV parks sort of thing. And he was working in sales and then became a sales manager and then pushed to start running these holiday parks. And all this time he was providing for his family. Now he started there probably in his 38, 39 years old, something like that. And the focus was on getting that money through to send to his kids in order to help them move forward. And in this journey, he then became a bit more stressed. And then he became headhunted when he was turning parks from really rubbish to being really great and turning them around. He had to move further and further away. And as a result, he then moved about an hour and 45 minutes away from where I am, moved to a place called Wheelie Bridge near Colchester, and then to Mersey Island near Colchester. And I live in Norwich. So it's about an hour and 45 minutes away. And at this time, he was stressed out. And you could tell because he used to get migraines. He used to just always seem to have something on his mind, that he was the manager of these parks. He was running these parks and he had to live on these parks as well. They always had a house for the guy running the business. And he would get called out left, right, and center. He couldn't seem to switch off and relax. He would get these migraines. And then when he was 47 years old in 2001, he went on a course. Now, on the Monday of that week, this is talking about how we look to provide for our family and we look to provide financially. He sent me a text message and that said, "Did you get your money, Dad?" As little as that. "Did you get your money, Dad?" This is back in the days of Nokia phones with snakes on them. It was just a text message. "Did you get your money, Dad?" It sent the money through the post. Now, later on that day, he got a migraine and he was on a course. And this was quite a severe migraine. And he ended up going into hospital. Now, that was on the Monday night and on the Tuesday. And it got a bit more severe. And he ended up having a stroke. And then it was the Thursday and Friday that we went down to the hospital to see him. There was all tubes in, like, my hero, my dad, was there. There was all tubes inside him. He was on a life support machine. His brain had been starved of oxygen for about 13 minutes. And they said that it was like more than half dead, basically, in his brain. So if he did survive, he was going to be severely impaired with his brain function. And this guy is 47 years old. And I'm there as a 15-year-old kid who on Monday, I had a text message from my dad that said, "Did you get your money?" And he was absolutely fine. And I was supposed to see him the next weekend. And it was kind of hard to take. And I had the option of going home with my brother-in-law, essentially, and sister-in-law, because I couldn't stand to see my dad like that. Stress had basically pushed him to having a stroke, and it essentially was killing him. And I went home thinking, should I have stayed? Should I not have stayed? I remember walking into the hospital room that my dad was in all on his own just before I left. And the last words I said to my dad were, "It's okay. I'll be okay. You're my hero." And it's seriously hard to even think back to that time. But one of the things that I think about now when I have my clients is that, does their 15-year-old kid want to be standing beside a hospital bed and saying that thing to their parents? Do they seriously want to be standing there by that hospital bed saying that to their parents? Or is there something I can actually do in order to help their parents deal with stress and improve their health before that actually gets to that? Because a lot of times people don't have the option to come back. Now, on the Saturday night, bearing in mind I'd left my dad on the Friday night, I got back to Norwich. I remember just laying on the sofa, my legs over the edge of the sofa, staring at the ceiling. For around 4 or 5 hours, I was just literally just sitting there. And I thought, how am I going to live my life? I'm 15 years old. How am I going to live my life without my dad? What could I have done better? What could I have helped him with? What could I have done to not stress him out? And I was thinking it was down to my fault or anything like that. What could I have done? On the Saturday, we had to make the decision to turn off his life support machine. Now, my dad always had this thing called cowboy time. It's 10 to 10, 10 to 10, 10 to 10, 10 to 10, 10, 10. And turned off his life support machine, and he actually died at 9:50, 10 to 10 that evening on the 28th of July, 2001. He was 47 years old. And I think back deeper into, it wasn't just losing my dad at 15. It was all these memories that could have happened. It was things like when I passed my driving test, actually going down to Colchester to drive and pick up my dad and take him for a drive. When I turned 18, actually having a drink with him at the pub, all these different things, like going, like treating him to football matches and like taking him, like when I got a job, being able to repay him for the things that he did for me when I was young. And it's the same things I love trying to do with my mum now. And as she gets older, I want to be able to look after her more and more. But I couldn't do this with my dad. Things such as walking my sister down the aisle. Now, I was very lucky to have a stepdad that was able to do this, but it still should have been my dad there. And my dad at the top table when I got married, all these different things that my dad wasn't able to experience because he was putting finances, trying to provide for his family financially, but physically he was getting very, very stressed and sick. And if we look back, we will see these signs, but he wasn't overweight. He didn't drink loads and loads. You can imagine, like, he was a social person. He would go to the bar occasionally, once or twice a week, for the clubhouse and see the owners. In the off season, he didn't really go to the clubhouse and go to the bar. It was what we would normally say is a healthy person. I remember when he said he went to the gym and he was really proud that he'd started the gym, and they said that he was a really healthy person, not high blood pressure, not high cholesterol, or any of these different things. But providing for his family financially was a thing that pushed him over his edge and essentially killed him. Now, I didn't know this was going to be part of my journey at that time. I didn't know that it was going to be this thing that I would focus on. In fact, I got really, really overweight because I lost control when my dad died. And that was something I could not control. So I pushed and I could control all this overeating, and then found bodybuilding where I became obsessive, dropped 100 pounds and then competed on the bodybuilding stage, gave myself an eating disorder because it was about control. And it was great working with these people just on their physique rather than their health. But I was just thinking back of like all these things of like, when I do have kids and all this stuff, and people have said, you haven't got kids, how do you know what it's like? I don't know what it's like to raise a child. I don't know that. I'm hopefully going to be having a child in the next couple of years. It will be awesome when I do get to the point where I can know what it's like to feel like that. But what I do know is what it's like to be a 15-year-old boy and lose your 47-year-old dad before his time, essentially. Like, he should have been able to be growing old. I should have been able to treat him on his retirement. I should have been able to take him away and like have this like son and lads day or something like that. Like treat him to go to the football, buy him a season ticket, all these different things. I should have been able to do that, but stress killed him. And it was great working with people on their physique transformations and all these different things and competing in bodybuilding. Then I went into the endurance world, and that was great as well, working with professional athletes in the endurance world champion athletes, Tour de France athletes, people consulting with people in the Rio Olympics. It was awesome, but it was an ego thing. And I was getting them from A to B as quickly as possible. But there wasn't this deep focus on health. And that is when I started working with a guy, Ron Reich, who is an entrepreneur. He's actually still a client now. He's been working with me for 6 years. But I was working with a guy, Rick Barker. And if you look on the testimonials page on my website, you can see that Rick Barker was the guy that launched Taylor Swift's career. He was Taylor Swift's manager and is massively successful within the music industry. And by the way, there's not going to be a pitch at the end of this at all, I promise. Rick was is massively successful in the music industry. And he signed up with myself and said, look, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to give my wife back what she signed up with, what she married for her 10-year anniversary is coming up soon. And 3 months later, I was actually at Rick's house. I'd been over there. We were filming a musician's health course. We put it out to his audience. It was awesome. I was there to make sure he was implementing everything that we said. And I remember standing there, and this is the first time that it absolutely clicked what I do. I was standing there. I'd helped him with his health. And this is before deeper functional medicine things came on board or anything like that. And I was helping him with his health. And his son was there. I think he was about 13, and his daughter was there, 15 years old. His wife, Jill, was there. And I was there just chopping turkey up, like this big counter. I was chopping turkey up. They were in the living room. And he just said, you know what, Ollie? Look at this. I'm lucky to have these people. And you've given them back what she married 10 years ago, and you've given these kids back their dad. And I just, if you can see goosebumps, I'm getting goosebumps just saying that now. And that was when I realized, shit, I couldn't help my dad. I couldn't do anything about my dad. I was 15 years old. I had that basic biology and chemistry knowledge or whatever in science. I didn't know anything about health. But over the years of diving in deeper and working on myself, working with other people, then I was there in Nashville with Rick, and I was able to give them their dad back. And I just thought that was just so powerful to think about that. And then later on, working with a guy, you've seen the pictures of Stephen Kuhn. If you've followed me, you've seen the pictures of Stephen Kuhn, an amazing military vet, business turnaround expert. He's just like an ideal client. I'm not going to lie about it. But this guy's 54 years old. Now, in 2019, I was over in Budapest with him, and we were doing an intensive. I was pushing him through his sessions. We were making sure all his meals were on point, ready for his transformation. And I remember sitting there, and he's got 2 young kids. I believe they were about 4 or 5 and 6, something like that. 2 young kids, a daughter and a son. And we're playing with these little cars and stuff. And then they go over and they're cuddling him, and he just looks at me and he's like, take a photo. And I've probably still got the photo on my phone somewhere, but that was another aha moment, if we were going to say that this guy, 52 at the time, I think 2019. So 52 at the time, he's got these 2 young kids, and you can see how much it means to him to finally have a grip on his health. And that was beyond powerful. Those 2 moments. I talk about Ron all the time because he's been awesome and things like that, but he is not a dad. But Rick Barker and Stephen Kuhn, coaching those 2 people really allow me to see what impact I can have as a coach on parents to stop their children not being able to give back to them as they grow older, not being able to say thank you in a truly powerful way. Because I know what it's like to lose a dad, because he was letting stress take over. Whether he was aware of it or not, I don't know. But I know what it's like to lose my dad when I was 15 years old. And as I say, hopefully I'll be in a position where I can know what it's like to have kids. But being that 15-year-old boy, losing their 47-year-old dad, yes, it was 20 years ago. Yes, I would do anything to have him back now, to see him older, to see him as 67 years old. But it's my choice to make a decision to say, look, I can just, like, you can grieve him, or you can actually take those lessons and actually impact them in a powerful way to help other people. So when people ask, why do I do what I do? What is your story? What is your journey? Why are you actually so passionate about helping over 35-year-olds stop being sick, making sure their health goes from really low, sluggish, making sure their energy, their moods are low, to push them through the roof, to make sure they're not out of shape, to make sure they're not getting out of breath when they're running around with their kids, to make sure they're not getting out of breath going up the stairs, to make sure they have more confidence, more sex drive, and just more overall vitality. Then I think back about what happened with my dad, and I just know that it is massively, massively powerful, the path that I'm on right now. And if you are struggling with your health, not as in a coaching method or anything like that, but if you are struggling with your health, if you have questions with your health, please, please, please just reach out and ask me. Because if I can help you in any way, please let me do that. Let me be selfish enough to help you in some way to improve your health, to move your body forward, to move your health forward, to help your body manage stress better. Because there are so many stressful things in this world. We should be able to have a grip on our health, so we can give back and we can actually raise our kids and be role models to our kids in a powerful way. Now, if you haven't heard my story, or if you have heard my story, if you've got to the end of this, we've been going for 17 and a half minutes now. I massively, massively thank you for watching this video. But don't just watch this video. Even if it's not reaching out for me for coaching or anything like that stuff, as I say, this is not a pitch. Actually, it is a pitch. It's a pitch for you to take some action on your health. Whether that's just improving your hydration, or moving forward, or moving at some point, not smashing it in the gym, but actually getting some basic sessions in. Whether it's just simply eating a salad every day, whatever it is, whether it's getting to sleep at a decent time, those sorts of things, like, please do it. Do the minimum amounts and move yourself forward. And if I can help, simply drop me a message. But I massively, massively appreciate you for watching this video, this live. And I'd love to hear your thoughts if it's helped you in the comments.